In Bangladesh, they say football is king. This is no regular football match. This game is between teams called open defecation and hygienic sanitation. The sports arena is being used to wage a battle between an age-old custom and social transformation. The open defecation team is going strong, but the boys from hygienic sanitation are all geared up to beat their opponents. Even though the boys from the two teams seem to be competing with each other on field, both essentially share a common goal: to rally support and inspire action on sanitation issues. There's an urgent need to spread awareness and mobilize communities in Bangladesh towards better sanitation practices. Access to toilets in Bangladesh is officially stated to be 58%. However, these figures include hanging latrines, which are not sanitary and merely mean that people are practicing open defecation but in a fixed place. Even with large amounts of subsidies and thousands of constructed toilets, it has not been easy to convince people to stop open defecation. Diarrheal and other hygiene-related diseases continue to kill 115,000 Bangladeshi children each year. Evidently, the answer to safe sanitation lies not in technology, but in breaking the habit of open defecation. These lessons were learnt and applied in 2000 when an innovative initiative was piloted by Water Aid Bangladesh in collaboration with a local NGO, Village Education Resource Centre, or VERC, and funded by the United Kingdom's Department for International Development, or DFID. Lessons learnt from work being done by many other NGOs were also incorporated to develop a radically different approach. They set out to eradicate open defecation not through the lure of subsidy, but by striking at the villagers' sense of pride, shame and disgust. A small village called Mosmoil, one of the worst affected in the northern district of Rajshahi, became the first unsuspecting target of this mission. On a February afternoon in the year 2000, the villagers of Mosmoil got some unexpected guests wanting to take a stroll around the village. Naturally, the villagers started showing them the best the village had to offer. But the guests were interested in seeing the open defecation area and deliberately paused at the dirty edges of the village. This was a moment of acute embarrassment for the villagers. Muhammad Mansoor Rahman was most embarrassed by this walk of shame. For the first time, he saw, through the eyes of these dignified outsiders, that the place was filthy, squalid, and disgusting.
আর কমলদা তার সঙ্গে দুই চারজন তারা কিন্তু দূরে যায় না লাখও ধরে না নিজের জিনিস নিজে দেখে খুব খারাপ লাগছে আর দাদারা বাইরে থেকে আসে তারা তো খারাপ লাগবেই তারা ওই সময় যদি আমরা আরো কটু কথা কিছু বলতো তার তো কিছু বলবার নাই এরপর বাড়ি আপাতত শেষ
As an immediate step, Mansoor set up a community meeting with the facilitators to discuss a solution to the problem. During this meeting, the facilitators initiated a very interesting mapping exercise. In the beginning, the map looked like a game to the villagers, where they drew all the landmarks, households, plantations, ponds and water points. But then the villagers were asked to point out the areas they use for defecation. Suddenly, every corner of their village started to get dotted with human excreta. The filth was all around them, on the roads, near the bushes, and in the fields. As this exercise went on, the amusement began to turn into anxiety. Many started to share the feeling of abject dejection that Mansoor had felt the first day. Bedana Begum was one of the many women who realized that they were suffering the most because of the filth around them.
তারা মনে করতেছে ও সর্বনাশ করেছে, আমরা কি কাজ করতেছি, আমরা তো এটা কোনোদিন জানি না। আমি বেদনায় তো কঙ্কার পয়সা। তখন আমার প্রথম ছেলেটা হওয়ার পর আমার ছোট থেকে কিন্তু আমি শরীর এরকমই, কিন্তু আমার এক সময় এমন হলো পায়খানা, শুধু পায়খানার পায়খানা, পায়খানা করতে করতে বাঁশ ঝাড়েই পড়ে থাকতাম। ওখানে সাইন করে ওখান থেকে আসা লাগছিল, আমার নিজেরটা দিয়ে আমি বুঝতে পারিছি। আর ওখান থেকে দেখা যায় পায়খানা করার অবস্থায় আমাকে ধরে নিয়ে আসতেছিল। এইরকম অবস্থা আমার, সবসময় পেটের গ্যাস, সবসময় পেটের গ্যাস ফর্ম করে, বুঝতে পারেন। আর পায়খানা, আর পায়খানা, গরহজমি পায়খানা, তখন আমার শরীর স্বাস্থ্য এরকম। তারপর আমি যখন এই সুন্দর কথাগুলো আমি বুঝতে পারিছি ভাইদের কাছ থেকে, আপাদের কাছ থেকে, তখন আমি বলছি আসলে এই কারণটা, মূল কারণই হচ্ছে আমাদের অসুখের কারণে এই খোলা খাবার।
The mapping exercise had spelt out the dangers of unsafe sanitation in such clear and graphic detail that it proved to be the most important motivating tool for the villagers. By the end of the exercise, the villagers resolved to address the problem collectively and started pressing the facilitators to provide them with solutions. But at this critical point in time, the facilitators refused to provide them any help. Instead, they asked them to get organized, get trained, and get active in addressing their own difficulties. The demand for toilets had been ignited, help or no help. They had the right to privacy, health, and dignity. The only problem that remained was the money required to meet that need. The cost of hardware was something that many families couldn't meet with a single payment. But such was the resolve of the villagers that without waiting for any external help, they decided to begin improving their lives. Bedana Begum formed a women's group and got a sanitation savings scheme going amongst its members. The group members would meet once a week, contribute 5 taka each, and draw a lottery every week to enable one family to purchase a latrine. This weekly meeting proved to be not just a savings exercise, but it also gave the women a platform on which they could come together, talk about their problems, develop a shared agenda, and a collective identity. They also convinced the men at home that they had priorities that shouldn't be ignored. But this empowerment of women that was underway was seen to be against the grain of the local cultural and religious tradition. Very soon, Bedana started getting criticism from the local imams for straying from her prescribed role of a housewife.
ইমাম সাহেব আমাকে বলল, মা তোমরা মহিলা, পর্দার ভিতর থাকো, স্বামীর সেবা করলে তোমরা কিছু পাবে। তখন আমি ইমাম সাহেবকে বলেছি, আমরা বাইরে হাজার হাজার নারী পুরুষের বাইরে কুলাজাত পায়খানা করতেছে, তাদের পর্দার ব্যাপার নাই।
The imam finally saw the sense in Bedana's argument. So did the rest of the village. Bedana's committee was the spark that ignited the community. It started a movement of self-help in the poor community. While Bedana and her women's group made sure that they provided all possible help to those willing to make toilets, Mansoor Rahman went on a mission to teach the unwilling a lesson. He decided to police the open defecation area every morning. He would go to the fields with a torch, catch the offenders midway in the act, shine his torch on them, and embarrass them utterly. The villagers soon became very aware of the uncle who would be lurking in the fields, taking the first opportunity to pounce on them.
এখন এনি টাইমে হাতে আমি টর্চ লাগালাম, এই কে, আমি অমুকের বাড়িতে যাচ্ছি, পুরে গেল। এখন আমরা ওই যদি মনের থেকে প্রকৃত পায়খানা করবার যায়, তখন তার বলে না যে আমি পায়খানা করতে আসছি, তখন তার বলে না, আমাকে দেখে হাতে অমুকের বাড়িতে যাচ্ছে।